recording the meeting now. I had paused it for a moment. It is recording now. When you're ready to ask a question, just unmute your mic or you can put it in the chat session. All right. With that said, I will kind of launch into some of the fact sheet basics of Plano Environmental Education Center. The Plano EEC, as it's called, is a LEED Platinum certified building structure and grounds here in Plano. One of the first, and I think maybe the only platinum in Plano at this point. It was built back in 2010. Had several different installers involved with the various systems at the Plano EEC, Axiom Solar, Fisher Renewables, Johnson Controls did some work, and then the rainwater harvesting system. I forgot to note who had done that, but that's, I believe, out there on the Plano EEC website. The renewable energy system, or the solar system, the part of it is solar, is 10.25 kilowatts. It used to be a microinverter system, but it's since been converted to a central inverter system. In 2018, they made that conversion so that they didn't have to maintain microinverters at that point, a little simpler system. They get their electricity from Reliant, so they're in an Encore utility area. They generally do not send energy back to the grid because their site facility is metered with several other large structures and buildings in the area. So they do not typically feed energy back into the grid, so they're not on a buyback plan, as far as I know. So the energy is produced is used on site. Rec 225 panels, these were older panels back in 2010, but are still strong, still producing well. I actually have some of these on my house as well, these same REC 225s. As I mentioned, they converted from microinverters, which is an inverter under every solar panel, to a central inverter. They have two 5 kilowatt SMA Sunny Boy inverters now that, again, were put in 2018. It was converted over to that type of system. The building itself is amazing. Gary Ulp is the architect and designer for this. It's a passive solar design, so it takes advantage of low levels of solar or low incline of solar in the winter to heat and help maintain and keep it, and then large overhangs in the summer to prevent solar gain in the structure. Take a look at the pictures if you haven't already. YouTube, the website, the Plano EEC website, also has some great still pictures out there of the building. In addition to the solar, they have a SkyStream 3.7 kilowatt, 60-foot wind turbine. It's unusual to see wind turbines in the city, but this is a commercial site. So they were permitted to be able to put a 60-foot tower on this site. So again, in the footage that we have out there on YouTube, which was some drone footage that we actually shot last week, fairly recent. It's unedited video that's out there, but it's really cool. You'll see some of that turbine twisting in the wind in those videos. The roof the roof is very unique or very cool. It's a metal roof designed to capture all the rainwater that comes off of that building, as well as it has a living roof portion of it, which you will see in the drone footage as well. So it is a very sustainable roof structure on that. They have a 20,000 gallon rain catchment tank in the back, and then a smaller one up towards the front. They also have solar water heating in this site too. So all the water heating for the bathrooms and the small kitchen that's in here is done by solar water heating, or primarily done. The other really cool thing about this site is all the sustainable landscape that's in it. In and around it. You can actually still go visit this site now, even during these circumstances. It's still open to the public, the outdoors area. So you can go through the gardens and check all those things out, check the building out from the outside and everything. I highly recommend you go down and do it. It's just a beautiful site to be at, and very, very serene and calming. There's also a EV charging station here, a Blink charging station. So if you have an EV, you can pull up and hang out and charge your car, and then go tour the outside gardens and everything. So those are the highlights. Again, try to catch the YouTube videos. There's a few of them out there. They're very interesting to see. Very impressive site. And with that, I'm going to kind of open it up to questions. I know we don't have a huge audience here, so we can just unmute your mic and ask away. We don't have to go through chat if you don't want to. So.
Hey, Bob. Well, this is probably a detail that you don't know, but on the wind turbine, you're saying because it was a commercial site, they could get a permit. Is it strictly because it's commercial, or is it the size of the site? If a residence had an enormous lot, could they have a wind turbine in Plano?
That's a very good question. I don't think so. As a private lot, you probably can't, but that's a very good question. If you had a large lot, which there aren't very many of them in Plano. There are.
Maybe not, yeah.
Yeah.
Some years ago, I had a microwave tower on top of my house for internet service.
Okay.
And I called the city to ask, and they said there wasn't really any particular issue with it. Now that wasn't a wind tower, but it went up like about 30 feet above the top of the house.
Yeah. And
I imagine you could have one of those wind towers like is on the Da Vinci site.
A smaller, yeah.
Vertical axis.
Possible, yeah. I know there's probably a certain number of feet or meters
Right.
or as a height restriction. I know there's a lot of sites, private homeowners who have ham antennas that stick up quite high, whether it's the moving nature of the
I was
turbine.
going to say, they don't have whirling, chopping blades.
Exactly. They turn slowly, but they're not, winding around. So those are great questions. Like you said, Liz, I don't know the answers specifically. I know that it's always been quoted by the Plano folks that because they were a commercial site, that's how
They just don't want to get questions from a bunch of homeowners.
They probably don't. Yeah. But that's an interesting point, because I know we've all thought about it, at least having a little small turbine, some kind of experimental thing, and I'm sure if you put up a 10-foot high, vertical axis turbine in your backyard, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of,
That's art.
yeah, but it wouldn't work very well. Anyway, other questions. The other couple of the other neat things about the Environmental Education Center is it is normally available to rent to the public. These times are a little different, but you can go in there and do presentations. There's weddings that happen there. There's all kinds of other events that can happen at this facility, and it's a really neat place to do those things. There's also a little. It's not really a river, but it's a drainage area that goes through the side that they have revitalized, and they have a very nice deck that goes down through there. You'll see some of that in the drone footage as well. There's an outdoor area for kids that is just amazing with a playground and other educational opportunities for composting, gardening, all kinds of neat outdoor activities and educational, things for people of all ages, really, but they do have a lot of stuff there for kids. Let's see, what else?
Is it staffed most of the time? Or?
It is not staffed most of the time. It is the building itself is usually locked. It's an open area it's really set up for presentations. There is a small kitchen there, so like I said, you can do event type of stuff, where you're serving refreshments and that type of stuff. But it is locked most of the time. they can actually access it to remotely unlock it when people are ready to use the building. Yeah, so it is not staffed regularly. Yep. Other than that, again, it's one of it's been around for 10 years now, which is hard to believe. It's been on the solar tour quite a few times, with skipping years here and there, but it's really one of the premier structures, and again, LEED Platinum certified, which for back then, I don't think they received their certification in 2010. I think it took them a couple years after that to actually get their LEED Platinum certification, which is not an easy feat. You have to come up with a lot of data, but the architect, Gary Olp, I think that was his intention from the beginning. It just took him a little bit longer to get there. So, but yeah. Definitely go see it.
Do you know the story behind how they actually got the grants and how they started, moving forward to have that environmental education center?
I don't. It was funded by the city, I think, and I don't know, or at least partially by the city. And the sustainability department, Heather Merchant, who just retired, was there for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
She actually just retired, I believe, late last year or early this year. She was instrumental in getting a lot of that started, I believe. And that whole program within Plano, which was Learn to Live Green, was one of the original programs in Plano. And it evolved into other things, but the department grew and grew. And that was all, again, 10 years ago. So she was very instrumental in getting a lot of that started.
I believe they started an early program in glass recycling.
Yes.
And I think that helped underwrite some of the grant money that helped bring in Gary for the lead design and everything like that. And they built that program out. It had to be independent and self-supporting. And, it was a real challenge. I mean, there was pushback for this to actually happen. And,
especially back in 2010. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably hard. And that department, I'm glad you mentioned that, Michael, because that department has done a lot in Plano too for the green business associations. They were heading up all that and still do, I think. That same environmental waste department that you're talking about with the recycling and things like that are very proactive in with a lot of other programs here in Plano. So it's yeah, I wasn't aware that that's where the original grant money came from, but all right, we had
if you have a little time left, how long is that drone video? We could be playing that and commenting in the background. I mean,
sure.
You don't have to hear the drone noise.
No, I will mute that. Hang on, give me just a second here.
It's great if you haven't been able to watch that video yet. It's pretty good.
Has anybody else?
Starts off a little slow, but then it goes.
Well, this is the
unmuted. I can provide drone noises.
No. Hang on just a minute. Let me get this going.
No, there's enough drone noise in it as it is.
Let's see, where is that? That is over here. Fact sheets, YouTube. Okay. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, that's it.
I hear the drone. No.
Do you hear that?
But for a minute.
Sounds like cicadas.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it?
No.
Okay, hang on just a second.
You need to share your screen.
Yep. I got to pause there. I just had to get it going. Let's see if I can mute this. Sorry. Okay, can you see it and can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
I can hear you as well, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so this starts out in front of the building. Obviously on the right-hand side over here, you can see the solar array on top of a carport. I probably didn't mention that, but that was purpose-built on top of a carport that also can capture rainwater. So at the end of this carport, you will see the downspout for the water coming off that carport, as well as the building. So again, this is a 10.25 kilowatt array. Now central inverter. These are 10-year-old panels here, still cranking away. So yay for solar.
Yeah. Did they update, when they did the update in 2018, did they include EV chargers at that time?
The EV charger was already there. The Blink EV charger had already been installed on site. So it wasn't an addition at that time. So it was a conversion from microinverters to a central inverter system.
Were they having problems with those microinverters, or?
Yes, this is a good point. As I've had a few problems with my microinverters, some of them have
the early
years.
end phases were a problem, had a problem.
Yeah, the early end phase microinverters did have some issues. I've replaced some of those. I think they got to a point with this array where they decided, well, it's simpler for us to just make a total conversion to a central inverter and eliminate that maintenance aspect of the system going forward.
So I guess the end phase is now has a better design or using better components, or?
They do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that technology came a long ways in those first few years. We were early adopters. I mean, these were some of the first inverters that were out there. 2009, 2010, I believe these were M190s, which is what I have at my house as well.
Temperature was they couldn't handle the high temperatures of climates like Texas and Arizona and everything like that.
Pretty brutal on a rooftop, yeah.
Yes, it is.
They were able to resolve all that. They were metal housing, and now they've gone to a phenolic plastic type of.
And even the replacements are still metal. The replacement.
Well, they have to use the heat sink is metal. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, here we have the SkyStream, the 60 tower.
Who was your drone pilot?
Keith.
Oh, that's good to have him involved in the project. That's good.
Yes, it was. You can see the looky-loos down here going, wow, isn't it cool? We would eventually edit these people out of this, probably more than likely, and get the onlookers out of there. Here's the living roof. This was originally, from what we understand, was more maintained. They've kind of let it go more natural at this point. So they don't do as much maintenance up there and planting and things like that. So it's kind of evolved over the years. Down to the bottom there, you see the solar water heating. So that is actually facing south. What you'll notice with the solar array in this site is it's not facing south.
Well, it's facing east.
It's facing east, southeast.
Yeah.
But the way they oriented the carport and everything, it just made sense to do that. And their concern wasn't getting all the power they needed for this site. Again, it was more representative of having the renewable energy there and that. This is obviously the water storage tank, and you can see the new inverters on the back wall there, along with some very efficient HVAC system there. What did I do? Oh, was that it?
Yeah, maybe it.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get back out of here. Where was I? Yeah, I'm going to stop the share right now. Here we go. Okay. And so where was I? Oh, yes. Basically, that's one segment of video that we have. We have about 35 or 40 minutes that we'll eventually work with the city to edit and get to a point where we, have a very short but succinct set of drone footage there. So yeah, the shooting of that footage last week was really, really neat. Kudos to Keith as a pilot. He's an amazing pilot.
It looked like he had it all pre-programmed, and so you just had to let it do its thing.
It was not pre-programmed.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's flying the whole time.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was.
He's an incredible pilot.
Yeah.
It's an amazing drone. I'm getting kind of off the topic here a little bit, but the drone itself is a really very stable
Platform.
And has a lot of feedback to keep it stable and things like that. So it's a really, really neat. And with a 4K camera, you can't beat the video. All right. Other questions? We had a couple last people join a little bit later. We've kind of finished the general fact sheet type of stuff on the site. But if anybody else has questions, jump in. Dun, 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 dun.
Hi, Susie. Don't be shy. You should.
Mike,
have you been up to the Plano Center before? Are you familiar with it?
No, that looks fabulous. Yeah.
As Eric was saying earlier, you can drive your electric car up there, charge it, and then tour the grounds while you get a nice charge to go back home. So.
Yes, I want to do it. Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great facility. You'll learn. It's a great educational site.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Catherine, I know you're not part of NT-Reg. Do you have any other questions? Have you been able to see your other virtual sites today?
You know what? I have not. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I personally, myself and some family members, we just created a nonprofit with the focus of fundraising, implementing some solar energy backup in Puerto Rico specifically, because they got so devastated 3 years ago with Hurricane Maria. It basically, people were without power for at least 6 months. So I am obsessed with solar energy and renewable, sustainable, and we're just taking a deep dive. And I wanted to kind of check in on this tour because I thought we were going to have to go to Austin to find some similar folks. So I'm just happy to find this organization and just trying to, just head in deep and figure out how to do this. And my brother is also involved, and he's a certified master electrician, so he's the director of operations. But yeah, we're just getting started now and just trying to learn. I think we're all going to also become certified installers, just so we can get knowledge and just get started figuring out this world. Specifically, we're interested in solar energy, but in a place specifically like the islands, anywhere, they're trying to do everything, collecting water, just doing everything they can to be more sustainable. And for a lot of people, it's really survival. So that's kind of what I'm doing here.
Well, welcome. And there are lots of resources in this group and around this group, I think, that you'll find very, very, very helpful, very useful. So check out the ntreg.org site as well. You can join up Groups.io out there, which is a messaging platform out there between all the members. A couple of the members are here on this call, so you've come to the right place, I think, as far as.
Yes.
And congratulations on getting the nonprofit going. That's wonderful.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing, so that's probably the only reason I'm doing it.
It's a lot of us started out in similar situations, and there's only one way to figure it out is get out there and start doing it. So I applaud you for trying to make that happen in that area. I know that was very devastating and difficult for a long time. I Zoom called with a friend on Friday night who's from there, and he was, he always had comments about things that weren't available. But I think that, over time they've eventually recovered, but it's taken lots and lots of time. So, yeah, cool.
Well, I'll just give a plug here for Tesla. Actually, after the hurricane, Tesla actually went into Puerto Rico and put in free solar energy, some backup systems on some big and some small, properties. And so I actually think Puerto Rico is going to be kind of like the prototype for all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's there are a number of initiatives worldwide to help support Puerto Rico, and storage manufacturers actually came in, supported by nonprofits such as Sonnen Battery and Blue Planet out of Hawaii. Sonnen's out of Germany.
Hey, Michael.
To go in. Yes.
I'm going to interrupt. I have made you host because I'm going to jump over onto the Dallas College call.
Okay.
I hate to talk and run, but it's back to back, so I'm going to get over there. You are now the host.
Before you go, what solar system is that in your background?
Oh, that's our solar system.
Yeah. Yeah. Where'd you find that backdrop? That's great.
It's in
I'm
Zoom.
going to go too, because I'm going to go to Dallas College.
Yeah.
I'll meet you there.
It's a good one. I attended it earlier this morning.
Okay.
But
All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a good afternoon.
Catherine, before you leave, I'd like to give you some information for your husband who wants to become
I'm
a
ready for you.
Yeah. So a couple things is that we'd love for you to become a member of North Texas Renewable Energy Group. We do monthly meetings. We're all about education and we also have we're tied in with the Dallas chapter for the Texas Solar Energy Society, which is based in Austin. And so we want you to become a member of that as well. And because they have a slightly different set of resources, but we're all part of the National American Solar Energy Society. And so it's a family. And but for your husband to become certified,
Actually,
I have a strong recommendation, and that is for him to check out the website for NABCEP, NABCEP.org. That's the North American Board of Certified Electrical Practitioners, and they basically have professional training programs focused on solar, whether it be on the design side, the installation side, safety and inspection side, solar hot water heating specialty, wind, they do that as well. But it's all tied into the code, right? The National Electric Code, which is tied into safety. And so the last thing, or the first thing you always want to be considered about as far as solar is safety, because you're dealing with electricity. And the larger you get, say if you put in a small community farm, to maybe help support a hospital or a school system, you're dealing with high voltages, and they're dangerous. And so it's not only dangerous for the installers, but dangerous for the people that may come in contact with them. And so I really encourage him to look into that organization for training. I'm associated with them as well. And we look forward to you getting active. And congratulations on your nonprofit.
Thank you.
So what else do you plan on doing? Are you only going to be focused with Puerto Rico?
Well, at this time, we're kind of focusing Puerto Rico, but it's just going to hop and a skip through the whole Caribbean.
Right.
So, and quite honestly, when it comes to something like this, you know what? I don't know, because, it could be a lot more local at some state, because, Houston's underwater every year as well, and they lose power. So they actually need to invest in solar backup. Louisiana, the whole coastline really should have some kind of solar energy backup.
So there's another initiative. I'm actually associated with another nonprofit called Green Careers Dallas. And we're about training a workforce for the low-income communities, right? And so right now we're focused in South Dallas. around Fair Park in that area. And we've been a nonprofit established for going into our 4th year. But we have training programs, and we initially focus on their scholarships, on getting safety trained primarily, so you can get employment with an installer. So if you're interested in learning any more about that, we can talk offline.
Did you say Green Careers Dallas?
Yeah, Green Careers Dallas. And the last house on today's tour is Tracy Wallace's house. And she happens to be the executive director of Green Careers Dallas, but she's going to show the solar installation on her house. Her husband just started a small solar installation company back in late February, March, and got hit by COVID, but he's weathering the storm and coming through. So he might be able to help your husband understand what's involved with setting up a business, getting installed, and how to find workforce, because you do need to have some people that understand the solar as far as the install. It's not just strict electrical, it's different. And because you're working on a roof, you're working on slopes, the weather. So anyway, you can reach me. My email is mjfladmark, FLADMARK @gmail.com. And just put your nonprofit solar type in the tagline, and I'll make sure I don't ignore you.
Okay. Did you say MJ or MG?
No, MJ.
MJ.
And I'm on the board of directors. Did you find this through the NTREG website?
Let's see. Who knows now, because I've been researching all over.
So I recommend that you go out to the Solar Tour website. Do you have the link to that?
I do.
Okay, go back to that, and it'll get you back to NTREG, and I'm on the board of directors there. And then so you can get my contact information, as well as and any of us at NTREG are willing to help you very much. And then the links to all these meetings, the next one's coming up, they're on that site. All you have to do is click on the Zoom meeting, and it'll pull you in. And the code is the same. The meeting passcode is the same for every single one. So you can see the next couple. And you should see the one with the junior college. It's pretty good. It's starting. It started.
Okay.
Right? It goes till 3 o'clock. And I'm going to be on the one with the city of Cedar Hill. Dewey Vu's on this call. He's actually going to be hosting that meeting. So, but anyway, a lot to see, a lot to learn, and thanks for joining. And I'm gonna end this one here. And hopefully
thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Hopefully you can attend these others for the end of the day.
Thank you, and thank you for your time. Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining. You have a good day.
All right.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay, I'm ending the meeting for everyone. Take care. Cheers.